G'day again, it's Gaz here, and we're starting off another session of tutorials and lessons and so forth. And I thought what we'd do to start is related to a situation that happened with a relative of mine that I'm doing Skype lessons with. Now this relative's in Queensland, and he had a situation where he went to perform at a particular function. Now, he's a very, very good singer, excellent singer, and, well, I think anyway. And his guitar playing has come along over the years quite well. And so I just give him some advice and different ways of doing things and so forth on the guitar. But what happened at this concert is he's always relied on those electronic tuning devices, which are quite popular now, and a lot of students have them, which isn't a bad idea. But this particular night, his tuning device, the battery died and didn't have a backup. So he couldn't get his guitar in tune, and it was sort of mucking around with his performance, of course. And then he had the sound guy, he had a guitar there, and he said his guitar was in tune. Well, he picked that up and he started playing that, and that wasn't in tune. Now it could have been that it may have had a different gauge string on it and he was pressing too hard, or goodness knows what. But whatever happened, he couldn't get either his guitar in tune or the sound guy's guitar in tune. And so what that meant was that he was left to do the rest of his performance with his guitar basically out of tune, and he wasn't comfortable. However, it made me think, and I suggested to him what he should do is just spend a week or two without the electronic tuner and learn to tune by the old method of at least one string that's in tune, and then move on to the next one, and then go back over it as the tension on the neck and so forth comes true. So we went through that and explained how to do it. But I think this is pretty important for most people, because I never had a guitar tuner when I first started. It was listen to a record that you knew the chords of, or an open note, or what key it was in, and then just listen to it and tune the D up or the A. If you had an open note, it was a lot easier on a lot of these old tunes. Now you might never get to a situation where you don't have a flat battery or a tuner that doesn't work. Just another point is that considering a guitar, when I have students come in here, one of the most common string that goes out of tune is the third string, the G. So you assume that that goes out of tune, especially on a classical guitar. But now, because I have young students as well, and because we have such a thing, or a character, there's such a character as the Phantom D tuner, well, nobody can come against the Phantom D tuner, because he actually is somebody who purposefully comes in and detunes. Now that can usually be a student that really doesn't want to be doing what he's doing anyway, learning guitar. Okay, so if you've got like a Strat setup with all your tuning machine heads on the top, you might have this guy, bottom E, go out, and you might have top E go out, just by being knocked. Now if you have the three aside type machine head arrangement, you could have the D and the G, the very top tuners, go out, or you could have the bottom two go out, but very rarely do the ones in the middle go out. If we've got that in mind, we've got also other factors here. Can I just mention too? The other thing is that if your strings are old, if you never clean them, and if they've got a heap of muck and rubbish on them, and if you bend really crazy, you will probably find that those strings just don't want to ever go in tune. It's usually the top E, and it just sounds out of tune for some reason. Now I don't know why that is, but I just know that strings that get a hiding, especially the top E, will tend to wear like that. Now let's see if we can organise tuning from the guitar itself. So we assume that the A string is in tune on most guitars. So your 5th string is in tune. If we say, yep, okay, that's in tune, or if you even test it with, if you can play along with a tune that you know is in the key of A, then you will be able to see if it is in pitch, if your ear is able to pick up on that yet. But if not, don't worry, it will happen in time. Now, go to the 5th fret on A, and then play, that's D, and then play the D open directly underneath it, the 4th string. So when you play them together, if they're in tune without that little bit of fret buzz there, you won't hear, all you'll hear is a flat sort of sound. Flat in a good sense, not as in out of tune. So if that's slightly out of tune, that D open, that's the sound you'll hear. Now without writing up a graph or anything, you'll hear a wavy sound. So up and down, up and down. The further you go out of tune, it speeds up. So that's telling you, or that's telling us, that we're out of tune one way or the other. Now that's the other question, is are you high in pitch or low in pitch? That can be a little bit hard to tell. What you can do is go down a step, or, sorry, go down a semitone. That's not all that far. See, that's getting close to D flat now, or the 4th fret. So let's go back up to the 5th fret. It's really quick now, the waviness in that sound. So let's bring it up. Nearly there. So once again, we've lost that waviness, haven't we? Now if it's high in pitch, once again the waviness comes in really quick. There you go. If we go up a fret, we've found where that note is. It's right here. If the string was normally tuned, it would be E flat. But we want it back here. We want the D open string, the 4th string, to be exactly the same as this D here. And you can hear that oscillation go from quick to slow as it comes back into tune. Still not quite there. Sorry about the fret buzz. That's pretty close, but there's still a slight waver in there. So that's how you do it. You can go and search for how far that string is out by going back and chasing it and finding out whether the pitch slows down. However, as these strings get further out of tune, they will pick up harmony notes if they're really bad, and that can cause a bit of drama. So the other thing we can do then is use a pitch pipe. That's just a simple non-battery powered device that will enable you to find the pitch of the strings, and then at least one string, and then you can do this type of tuning from there on. So now let's move along. Let's do the E string. If we want to tune the E string, what we need to do is play the 5th fret on the E string, and then play the A string, the 5th string open. Then play them together. Once again, that's pretty close. So there we have the concept. So if you want to tune that one, or vice versa, if the E's in tune, which we assume it's not normally because it's the type of string that likes to, or machine head that likes to get knocked, but not as much as the G or D, especially in the opposing machine head headstock arrangements. So there we have it. There's E and A. Then if you want to tune what we did before initially, the A to the D, There it is. Then if we get the D in tune, we put our finger once again on the 5th fret. So there we've got G and G open on the 3rd string. Then we have to make the weird sort of switchback. To get the B string tuned, we have to come back to the 4th fret on the 3rd string and then play the B open after it. And we do the same process. Then when we do the E, we come up to the 5th fret on the B string, the 2nd string, and play E open. That's how we tune by ear. But once again, we need a benchmark to start with. Now, if you use some recording that you know the key of, excellent, do that. But if all else fails, just get a pitch pipe, and that, or even a tuning fork. They won't fail you. And it's probably not a bad idea to have that little skill up your sleeve if ever you enter into the same sort of dilemma that my cousin did. Anyway, he's going to send me a video of that performance, so I hope to see how he actually dealt with the crisis. And let's see how you deal with the crisis and see how you go with your tuning by ear.